Does anyone have a question they would like to?
I'd like to ask a question, Stuart. I was in your class last night, and you were speaking about the process of being in the moment. And I don't have a question about it, but I would like to hear you speak about it more.
Well, look, we live in the moment, although we spend so much time in our heads that we're constantly moving from the past to the future. And yet everything we do exists in this moment. And the only person who is not present is us. We really, have the capacity to, delude ourselves with what the future is going to bring, the past was, and yet we live now, and we need to have the strength inside to be living now. And in the now, in the present, all of life is being created around us. Everything is a manifestation of God's energy. Everything is sacred in this world that we live in. And the reason why we treat it so cheaply is we don't live in the moment. So I keep telling you this meditation, I keep telling you it's not a religion, it's not a nothing. It's a craft that you learn so that you can master yourself, so that you can begin to live your life in the present and stop playing some intellectual ping pong match with yourself, and knocking the ball from the future to the past, back to the future, and forgetting that we live now. We need training to learn how to do this. We need to master the internal chaos. It's like Ram Dass said, be here now. That basically is what we are learning here, how to live in the now. And once you learn how to live in the now, along with that comes spiritual enlightenment, comes a connection with higher energy in the universe, with God, spirit, as I always say, whatever one wants to call it. Now, this is essential. Otherwise, we spend all our time and waste all of our energy drifting in the mind and the emotions,
Mm.
sexual energy, that never is at peace with ourselves, living in the present. So, the purpose of this meditation is to truly build a chakra system that's strong enough to do what I'm talking about. And once we begin to master our internal lives, food begins to taste better. Colors are more rich in life. You know, uh, we hear things that we don't ordinarily hear. We begin to see with the third eye, and we can determine what's real, what's an illusion, or even how to transform all of illusion into something that gets us closer to God, that makes us work deeper on ourselves so we can transform Maya into an energy force that gets us closer to God. I remember reading, so the Buddha said, suffering is the fastest path to God. And God knows we all have enough of it. So basically, that's what this meditation is about. I'm not teaching religion here. What I'm trying to teach everyone is something it took me years how to learn, how to live in the moment. But it was this double breathing exercise that built the chakra system inside that enabled that to take place. I hope that's clear, Pat. I don't know how do you explain this, it's a living experience of life, of creation, of God all around us, sacred. Life is sacred. We don't delude ourselves with false images of what life is supposed to be. It is what it is. And we have to open and allow ourselves to experience it and then have the consciousness to use what is as a way of growing. Instead of being pissed off at life, we use it as a way of growing in ourselves, of getting stronger inside. Instead of judging people in life, we use all the stuff that goes on in the world, as a teacher, as a way of growing, and you can't do that if you're not connected to the moment. What you're trying to do without that connection is to transform life into what you think it's supposed to be. And I promise you, it's a hopeless task. Instead of opening, and what is it teaching me about me and what I have to do to grow in myself?
Mm.
And then there's no longer right and wrong, and all the polarity dissolves into some kind of dialectic, like union of all opposites. And there's a oneness of life, and everything fits in somehow. Good, the bad, the indifferent, and the ugly all finds a place. And it all is part of what we have to learn. But how do you learn this unless you build a system inside that's capable of experiencing and living in the moment? So don't get angry at yourself. Just build that kind of system. Nobody's perfect. Understand? None of us are perfect.
Mhm.
Well, perfection is part of imperfection is a major aspect of perfection. Now, this might sound like a conundrum to all of you, but it's not. We need imperfection and certainly have enough of it to remind us that we better grow every day. Does anyone else have a question?
Thank you, Stuart.
You're welcome, Pat. It's a very important question, Pat, that you're asking, and you wanted me to expand on the answer. Very important because it's something that is essential. If every person sitting here is in need of a spiritual life, living in the moment is essential. Does anyone else have a question?
Stuart,
Yes?
um, on those days when you wake up in the morning and you're feeling highly stressed or carrying tension, what do you recommend the best way to start the day?
Oh, have a good breakfast. You know, take a shower, take a look at yourself in the mirror and say, I'm going to be nice to myself this morning. I don't need this. Really. I mean, there's no mystery in all of this. How do you do it? You just, okay, I got to live the day. I'm not going to spend the day like this. I got to open my heart. I got to feel self-worth, a kindness about myself, you know, have a good, delicious breakfast, send a flower to somebody. Well, I need it. I mean, these are all like simplistic answers, but they're real answers to that situation. And the more you grumble about things and the more you're unhappy about things, the worse it's going to get. So you better just say, stop it. And you can say that to yourself. And there's always something you can do that can turn the energy around.
Mm.
There's always something you can do that you like. And do it. Instead of grumbling and feeling miserable and the world is a terrible place and why am I alive and blah, 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 it's a waste of time. They, and I have to do that too. I don't always wake up in a perfect state of being. I got this stuff. I have stuff also, just like all of you. But then years of reminding myself, I remind myself,
Ah,
I have to live this day.
mm.
How am I going to live this day? Better with an open heart than being mad at the world.
Thank you, Stuart.
You're welcome. Does anyone else have a question? Okay, if there are no more questions, thank you all. God bless you all. There'll be a class on Sunday, and I'm looking forward to seeing everybody. God bless you all. Thank you. It's just wonderful to be here with all of you. And trust me, I have resistance to coming here. I'm not a computer geek. And I've been kind of staring into this computer now for 5 years. And I look forward to retreats and in-person classes. We're having one this weekend, in-person class. You happen to live within a radius of where I live, come. We're going to have a class. So God bless you all. Thank you. And I will see you all on Sunday. Have a great weekend.
I guess.
Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you, Stuart.
You're welcome.